mainly because I wanted to show the difference between digging into soil that has been like cut just like a regular grass lawn, and the difference between the soil of that and stuff that has been sheet mulched and stuff that has just been overgrown. So if you look behind me, I have lots of areas that are overgrown, and all this grass has been grown up for, this is the second year now. So you'll see how the matting, the natural life cycle of the grasses, how they grow up. In the fall they die down and they get packed down by snow, and then new grasses come up and it covers the soil, protects the soil. And we'll see the some of the main pros and cons of mowing than sheet mulching versus just letting the grass grow up, because there's old grass that you have to cut up and it's a little bit more time intensive, but arguably it's a lot less work than for one, getting all of the cardboard and then sourcing all of the wood chips, which if you buy could be anywhere from $500 for a dump truck load, or $50 for the pickup truck load, which pickup truck load isn't going to get you very far. You might be able to get a 5x5 area covered with a couple inches of wood chips. And then the wheel, digging it up and shoveling it and all that stuff, it's actually a lot of work. So I'll just kind of show you the planting difference between those, but I wanted to get a lot more berry bushes. I'll bring you inside to show you the different bushes that I'm going to plant, so stay tuned. This is the area where we're going to do these, it's going to be 4 different soil samples to check the condition of them. First, I'm just going to dig into this place where I mow all the time. We'll dig into this where this has been sheet mulched for a couple months. Then we'll go here where this is all Creeping Charlie, right in here, and I'll just dig down there. And then there's a spot right here where it does have Creeping Charlie, but it's been covered up with a lot of old grass and stuff like that, just to see how much of a difference there is. It'll be pretty quick, and I'll put my phone on a tripod so we can see the differences here. So here we go. Okay, and then here we're just going to do a simple dig down. We can see it's a little bit chilly, but it's pretty dry. Don't see any worms or anything in there. Let me see if I dig down a little bit deeper how long it takes to... Oh, there's one little worm there. That's disappeared. Yep, it's all pretty dry down to about 4 inches. I'll move to here. I'll set this tripod up. Of course, we're going to have to move a lot of this wood chips out of the way. You can see already how moist those wood chips are. So this is one of the things that add to the amount of work when you sheet mulch, is you need to move the wood chips out of the way and try when you're planting stuff not to get any more in. But you can see here that even the old grass and the soil, it's all super wet and moist and super easy to dig into. And then all you need to do is just plant into that, replace whatever dirt, just slide your wood chips back over. So ease of planting, just as easy as digging into the bare dirt, but everything under it's pretty, it's just moist and good to go. I'm just gonna hold this. It's a little uneven. This is that ground cover area. Try and get a big chunk up here so you can see. And this is you know, with a ground cover, creeping Charlie. There's violet here. Obviously, there's a maple tree growing. You can see the moisture level of this dirt. Oh, let me get this camera to act right here. Yeah, the moisture level of this dirt is about the same as the grassy area. And you also, just like the grassy area, you're gonna have to rip this out, shake the dirt off, plant your thing, and then deal with the grasses and stuff that come in over it. I mean, after you cut into this or just a mowed pathway, you remove what you can, plant what you need, then you can surround the area with wood chips if you want. It'd be best to put cardboard or newspaper, anything like that, just to suppress the weeds as much as you can. Whatever you plant, depending on, I mean, if you're going to plant a maple tree that's this big, this one's been here for 2 years now, so it's got extensive roots and all that, but you're going to plant a tree about this size from nursery, you could probably be okay with not sheet mulching it and all that, but if you want to increase your chances of success, you'd want to block some of that stuff out. Not so much, maybe this creeping Charlie and some other vines might actually choke out your plant, but just to make it more neat and orderly, like for example, if you have grasses that get this tall like mine, that blocks a lot of the sunlight off, so it's all depends on which area you go to. Here is an area that does have this old grass. It's got old grass from years prior, from the last year. Once we move away all that, it does provide some insulation, retains some of the moisture. There's our bare spot. But unlike, remember when we got to with the sheet mulching, all this, I mean, all the material down was wet and the soil was moist to where I didn't even need a shovel. You can see here, not especially anything great. Now, in this case, I'm using all this grass and all that to build up the soil life, get some cover on it. So in this place, it was mostly ground cover and some old grasses and stuff like that. So not the best example on my property of it. And I'll try and get a capture of that. It's just, it's not as plentiful as I would think, and it really didn't make as much of a difference on the top couple inches of soil as I had expected. The takeaway here is we can plant everywhere and anywhere we want to, but there is a huge difference between having an area that's sheet mulched with cardboard under that, under the wood chips, and the ease of laying this stuff down. It's a bit of initial work. Nothing too crazy, especially if you're just doing a small area, 5x5 area or something like that. So you can plant a couple of fruit trees and throw some strawberries in the ground, some onions, stuff like that. It's not too big of a deal. And I much prefer doing that work up front. That way it kind of just blocks out, squares off, cleans up an area, and I can just plant into it. It just makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, if I plant into somewhere else, then I got to remove all that grass, flip it upside down. I got to battle the grass later. There's no clean edges and things like that. So if you look at this pathway on that side there, it's a pretty clean edge on that. The grass that I let grow there is really creeping Charlie, and some strawberries that like to pop up. But it makes a huge difference in the top few layers of soil, and that's where the majority of most roots are. As a rule of thumb, if you think of the first 4 to 8 inches of soil as being the most important, that's where the most of the roots are. That's the most important. That's where you want most of the water to be. Basically the water to be, because that's where the life is going to be. That's where all the worms and the microbiology is going to be. and that's where the plant's gonna be taking all of its nutrients. Now, if you're planting comfrey, or you just feel like planting a bunch of dandelions with long, deep tap roots, it's less as important. They have an advantage of having that huge tap root over any other plants, but for most plants that I'm gonna plant, it's all gonna be things that really depend on that 4 to 8 inches of good topsoil. And this ground is good enough. It's like a sandy loam. I'm just trying to bring up. If I think of the soil life is too far down in the ground, and I'm trying to bring it up to where I'm going to plant. And sheet mulching, the initial cost is a little bit higher, but in the end, it just makes everything so much simpler and neater and tidier. So, hope you got something out of this, and thanks for watching.